Good morning, folks. I just wanted to show you a little trick I do every year. I start saving up my drink bottles, and as you can see, some of these still have my Kool-Aid in it that I take to work. But I save them up in a box, and I even save my little containers, for like my Nesquik here or my coffee. And I reuse these. Okay, now what I reuse these for is this is going to be my planters. So all I do is I cut the top off, right? And I try and do it, I don't know if you can see, but it has a little lip right there, and I cut right below that lip because then it fits over the bottom of the bottle easily. And what you're going to do is you're going to drill some holes, and I drill holes in the bottom of it, just a couple holes, or you can even take a nail and punch a hole in the bottom, and you fill it with your compost, which I get this out of the chicken coop, and then you cut the top off right along the top of where the label is. You can even leave the label on there. I don't take the label off, okay? And then you plant your seed, and you put the top back on top of the container. And what this does is it produces like a mini greenhouse, like you would see in the stores, like a seed tray, but each one of these is big enough so that you can get your plant fairly big, 6 to 10 inches tall. And I do this in the house. I'm starting to collect up now. I don't do this all year, obviously, but I'm starting to collect up now for planting season. I'm already thinking of planting season, and here it is the 2nd of January. So you need to, the way you do this is you start thinking of planting season ahead of time, and you start getting your stuff together ahead of time, so that when it does come to planting season, you've already got all your material together, you're already ready to go, okay? Now, with the bigger ones, I do basically the same thing, but with the bigger ones, instead of putting the top over top of the bottle, I turn the top inside out, and I put I drill a hole in the top of the cap and underneath, okay? And obviously this allows you to water the plants from outside if they're outside. Now, I actually grew a 4-foot tall tomato plant. Well, it was little cherry tomatoes, but it was a tomato plant out of this 2-liter bottle that I did last year, and I actually gave it away. And the guy that I gave it away to put it into a bigger planter, and of course threw the 2-liter bottle away. So you can do that. Now, I also use these, and these are just the next quick container is plastic. It's hard shell, right? And I drill a couple holes in the bottom, and I take the top and I put the top under the bottom, and that acts like a plate would. You add water to the bottom tray, and the plant sucks the water up. I do that also with my plastic coffee containers. I do the same thing. Now, I don't collect my coffee grounds. Some people do. I don't. It's what you feel comfortable with. I actually go out to my compost pile and get my compost, or I go and I buy some potting soil from the store and use that. But It's just my little idea. It's just an idea that if you do drink sodas, like I obviously do, okay, start saving the bottles. Start now. Start saving the bottles, and by the end of February, beginning of March, when you need to start get your seeds started, you already have the planters ready to go. You don't have to go to the store and buy them, right? You already have them right there. They're ready to go. I have found, however, that these only last a season. These containers will not. The only ones that last more than a season are like the Nesquik and the coffee containers. They'll last 2, maybe 3 seasons, and then, they're no good anymore. The 2-liter bottles will last 2 seasons, and that's pushing it with them. And then they just deteriorate. So that, this is a temporary type of greenhouse that you need to do every year if you're going to do it this way. I'm sure there's some way to save this and make them last longer. I'm not the person to tell you how to do that. Okay, I'm just telling you what I do, and it's just a neat little idea. I would say that if you're having the children do this, be supervising them, because cutting plastic, the way that you've got to cut it, you have to be careful that you don't cut yourself. So be aware of that. I mean, you can do all kinds of things with this. Anybody else would say, well, that's trash. Okay, it is trash, but I'm repurposing it for a season to grow food and to get my seeds started. And that's what I use it for before I throw them away. Now, at the end of the season, yeah, they'll go to the dump. But at least I'm getting a dual purpose use out of them. And I think that people should try and look at things that they have, and can they reuse it, for one other thing before they throw it away. I got this because I have lived in hard times, obviously. And you learn, when you don't have very much, you learn how to use things that you would not think were usable for that in a way that other people would never consider, right? So this is a tip for me to you, and 2nd of January, and I thought that maybe y'all would like to know this little tip. And by the way, if you really wanted to, you could take these 2-liter bottles, rinse them out real good, and sanitize them and dry them out real well, and you could use them to store dry food in. I don't do that because I tend to think that the light shining in the bottles degrades the food, and they're not UV protected, and I also tend to think that the plastic leaks into the food. So I use glass. I don't use these plastic. I use glass mason jars or Mylar bags personally. That's my personal opinion. Other people have different opinions, and other people will tell you it's good to go, but I find that kind of sketchy to try and use these for storing dry goods for any amount of time. I don't agree with that. So that's my personal opinion. Like I said, other people have different opinions, and I'm sure that they will tell you that. And that's all I have for you this morning. Bicycle.